Hello all, my name is Jason Oliveira. I'm the media chaplain for SFD. Here with me is
Trevor Chadwick
and Aidan Scott.
And today we just have a crazy story for you guys, and we're trying out this new podcast form of My Story Matters because we think that it'll be a little bit more interesting for you guys. So
Absolutely.
Aidan, just one more time, bring us into like your world and step by step what was happening when that incident happened.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Like I was saying beforehand, I was in the desert visiting home, spring break of my junior year. I was shooting an event for my parents' business, an auction gala. I was going to be the videographer for it. On my way to that event, I ended up getting in a bad car accident and just waking up from a coma in the hospital, not knowing what was going on. A lot happened in that brief period that I like to share with you guys. It honestly is a big part of my testimony. Because truthfully, I wouldn't have lived if it wasn't for the Lord and my belief in him, and I fully believe that, because I was getting transported to the hospital in the ambulance, obviously, and they were telling my parents like a bunch of random updates. It would change like with the minutes. They would say, oh, he'll be okay, whatever, and then they gave me like an x-ray and found that my whole right side of my skull was shattered and like impaling my brain. So they're like, he's not going to live unless we do something about it, pretty much. At that point, my parents were completely freaking out. They had everyone over. All my old high school friends were there. Pretty much everyone I know from the desert showed up. And at that point, they decided like the best course of action would be emergency brain surgery for me. So that happened. I was in a coma for 6 days. And then, like I was sharing earlier, when I woke up from it, I just received all the news. Like, hey, I was in a car accident. Okay. Like, you just had brain surgery, okay? All this information was coming at me, but it wasn't until around Easter Sunday that weekend where I was starting to really understand what happened, but I wasn't able to walk at all, like, the whole time. I would, like, try and I couldn't. Like, my legs would not work. My parents invited a pastor that they really trusted to come and anoint me with oil on Easter Sunday, and he was supposed to actually preach a sermon, but he decided to come visit me before it. He showed up, he prayed over me for like an hour, he anointed me with oil, and literally right when he left, I kid you not, I got out of my bed and I walked for the first time after the coma. Dang. And that's really what told me, like, this has to be God. Like, I knew it right away. Like, there's no other way. It was insane.
Dang, brother. That's insane.
I have a question.
What's up, bro?
So you said that you remember yourself like kind of making the U-turn, right?
Yeah.
And then from there it kind of just blacked out?
Yeah, bro, I don't remember anything after that. I think my head either hit the steering wheel or like the middle console. I don't remember much of it after that.
And so from then until when you like woke up from your coma, was it like you're sleeping or like what?
It was weird, bro. Honestly, it was. I do remember hearing voices. Like, I was hearing voices. I'm pretty sure that the doctors and nurses had told my family and friends that I was able to hear things. And I remember, like, briefly, it was like a fever dream, to be honest with you, though. Like, hearing just kind of muffled tones around me. But mostly it was just pitch black, like, the whole way through. It was pretty much like I fell asleep and just woke up, and that was that.
And did you feel like any pain whatsoever, or?
I just knew, like, when I woke up immediately, yeah, it was like a piercing headache. That's what it really was. I was in a lot of pain. I didn't feel nothing, though, when I was out. Honestly, it was like I was just sleeping. It's like you were sleeping but not dreaming type of thing. That's honestly what it was.
And you said that your two brothers were in the car with you?
Yeah, my little two brothers, Cash and Dax. They were volunteering at the auction gala that my parents were hosting too. They got off pretty scot-free though from an injury standpoint. Dax just had like a little bit of rib like damage, a tad bit of bruising, and he had a little cut on his eye from the glass. And Cash was completely fine.
Yeah. So, what was your relationship with Christ like beforehand? Because you said that it had an impact on you afterwards.
Absolutely.
As well. But
Yeah.
what was it like before?
Beforehand, I feel like my junior year is when I really started to take my relationship with the Lord a lot more seriously. The summer before is when I put in the most work. I was doing spiritual discipline in my word every day, and I would pair it with physical discipline by getting in the gym. And I was kind of just working on myself a lot that summer. And it translated great into the school year. But I think that somewhere along the way, I just got so distracted with like the social life of school, trying to catch up on homework, that I would stop being so like aggressive in my pursuit of my relationship with the Lord. Like I caught myself not like reading my Bible like I used to. So I could definitely say I was starting to head in a more lukewarm type of manner in that junior year. And I honestly feel like the accident was like a wake-up call as well, for my faith, because it was starting to get kind of sidetracked towards the end of the year there. I was just getting too distracted and not prioritizing my relationship with the Lord enough.
Dang.
After it is when I realized, it was really when I started to realize what happened to me, and like where I am now, that I was like, wait, like this is a wake-up call. Like the Lord is 100% trying to tell me something here, because I should have died. It was when I started to realize that I should not be alive right now that I was like, wait a minute. I started to really think a little more deeply about like, man, like would I have ended up in heaven? Like, cause I was being honest with myself. I was like, I was kind of lukewarm. Like, would I have even made it to heaven? Like, it was honestly a scary thought to wrestle with for a little while there. Yeah. And kind of coming through that realization, I was like, okay, clearly this is a wake-up call. Like, it has to be. I can't perceive it any other way. God's trying to tell me something, and by letting me live, and once I obviously had that experience on Easter Sunday where I walked for the first time, it was just more confirmation that it was just God trying to directly interject in my life and get me on a different path.
I have another question.
What's up, bro?
So just like by being your roommate, I kind of know that a bunch of people kind of reached out to you or whatever.
Yeah.
And so do you think that everyone reaching out kind of also helped you not come back to Christ, but like delve deeper into that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that helped a bunch, actually, because like you're saying, a bunch of people were reaching out, but I think a bunch of people were also praying.
Yeah.
Like, I know there was a bunch of prayer warriors for me, and I think that played a huge role in my recovery, because it was like 3 to 4 times faster than it should have been. I was up and walking like a week out of a coma, which is pretty much unheard of for an entry like mine. And that's just more confirmation. Like, only the Lord can bring healing that quick. That was just very obvious. And yeah, all the love and support was just like overwhelming, honestly.
Let's go back. How did you first come to Christ?
Oh yeah, my testimony in that. I would say I was a Christian my whole life, but it really wasn't until like maybe freshman, sophomore year of like college where I really started to give a crap about my relationship with the Lord. You know what I mean?
Come on up,
Cause yeah, bro, like I was saying, it's just kind of like I was doing my thing. I really was. Like, I feel like a lot of Christians kind of can get caught up in that when they're just living for themselves and just not like acknowledging. Yeah. And it's easy in high school when you're just kind of trying to be cool. You're kind of trying to go along with the popular crowd and doing whatever. You're not really thinking twice about your relationship with the Lord. And that's what I was caught up in for so long.
Yeah. I know I had a similar experience, and a lot of my peers, it was difficult in high school.
Definitely.
You're trying to balance like, oh, I want to have fun in this way. However, I want to live for the Lord. And it seemed like those two did not.
Dude, yeah, they just seems like they don't coexist at all.
However, like, I found at least that I was so wrong about that. And I put that in my testimony for the past weeks for My Story Matters. But yeah, I found the same.
Exactly. That was more like just kind of trying to figure out how I can be cool, or like how Aidan can like do this for him. I was just living for my flesh, in all honesty, like trying to fulfill it with all society says is acceptable, just doing whatever, whether they're smoking or drinking, like, oh, that's cool, I want in on that too, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
Yeah. And I know like a big reason for me was I didn't know like the reasons behind not to do these things. Would you say like that's something that you didn't know, like because you didn't know of the reasons behind those laws, you didn't want to surrender them?
Yeah, I would say, that was apparent for me. Yeah. And I'm sure like your parents have probably told you all throughout growing up, hey, stay away from this, stay away from that. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got those guidelines where like, don't do this. But for me, it was like, I heard that and I was like, okay, I won't. But it's like...
yeah, but it's like different when...
Yeah, bro. It's like you kind of want to almost experience for yourself. You know what I mean? It falls along the lines of like, hey, the stove's hot, don't touch it. And you touch it anyway. Like that's what I think the main similarity is. Like I was told don't for so long that I was like, oh, like I want to find out if it's actually bad for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people, I mean, including myself, just got to find out themselves.
Yeah, bro. I learned the hard way a lot. That's for sure.
I've been thinking about that as like a parenting tactic, because people say that about forcing people to hear about the word of God.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's the same as telling someone not to go into the street, or telling a baby not to go in the street.
Yeah.
You're telling them not to scare them, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you may not understand why
Yeah.
you're not supposed to run into that street right now.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
if
yeah.
you do,
exactly.
you're going to get hurt. And
It's out
some
of
people,
love.
Yeah, it's out of love. And some people, like myself and you and whoever else it may be, you know, just got to experience for himself, get hit by that truck.
Yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying.
Literally.
Like, that's what it was for me, bro. Literally, that's exactly what happened to me, though. That's so true. That's exactly what happened to me. But I've been metaphorically hit by the truck in other ways, too. You know what I mean?
Let's
Yeah.
talk about what the